Chapter 71. A little different on the 1st and 15th day of every month. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 71. A little different on the 1st and 15th day of every month. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Sorry, I didn't do that on purpose. Su Qianxuan covered her forehead with her hand and immediately raised her head to apologize to Yi Gu. Remember to look at your surroundings the next time you walk. Don't keep your head down all the time. Yi Gu let out a few soft coughs. He then opened the room door. Su Qianxuan only realized right then that they had already arrived. Okay. Su Qianxuan replied softly. Her gaze landed on Yi Gu's hand, which was wrapped in bandages. She blurted out, "Is your hand injured?" Yi Gu froze. He glanced at the young woman before him and recalled the incident that happened in the car the other day. They suddenly locked eyes. Su Qianxuan nervously took a few steps backwards. She lowered her head and remained silent. Her body was so stiff to the extent that she felt extremely uneasy. "How's your injury? Is it better now?" Yi Gu asked abruptly. It's much better now." Su Qianxuan placed her hand on her chest without being aware of it. That part still hurt very much. The young master will be a little different on the 1st and 15th day of every month. He must be with you. Yi Gu knew very well that he had said too much. There were things that he was not supposed to talk about at all. However, when he looked at her pale face, he was genuinely worried that the young master would torture her to death. Su Qianxuan raised her head to look at him when she heard these words. When she realized what he meant by, "be with you," she blushed instantly. Why must he be with me on the 1st and 15th day of every month? Su Qianxuan grasped the most important part of his statement. And why does he insist on me bearing his child? Yi Gu fixed his gaze on her, but did not say anything else. It's fine if it's not convenient for you to answer. I'm just asking, anyway. I'll go inside first. Yi Gu had helped me a lot. I must not trouble him further. Su Qianxuan entered the room. When she turned to close the door, she suddenly said, "I'm really thankful for what you did for me that day." Yi Gu's body stiffened a little. Su Qianxuan closed the door. She felt weak the moment she turned and leaned against the door. With her hand pressing against her chest, she could not help but start to cough. She felt terrible. When she fell from the horse yesterday, she truly thought that she was going to die on the spot. Moreover, she was extremely nervous whenever she was with Long Siju because she could never understand what he was thinking. She was afraid that she would accidentally trigger him again. Su Qianxuan only realized when she raised her head that she was in the room where she met Long Siju for the first time. That astonishingly big room. Everything in the room was black, and the atmosphere in the room was way too oppressive. She could not be bothered at that moment. Since Yi Gu had warned her that Long Siju would not let her go tonight, she needed to prepare herself. Su Qianxuan walked to the side of the bed hastily. Because she was so anxious, she tripped while she walked and dropped the shopping bag in her hand. The item inside the shopping bag fell out. When she saw what was inside the shopping bag, blood rushed to her cheeks. She quickly stuffed the item back into the shopping bag, rose and walked to the side of the bed. She then tossed the shopping bag onto the bed. Tang Zui. That dude is so mischievous. Su Qianxuan took a painkiller, which she got from Mu Bai, out of her pocket. Su Qianxuan was feeling rather regretful. I should have asked for some anti-inflammatory pills too. However, it was no use for her to think about that now. She immediately swallowed the pill, stood up and walked to the bathroom. She intended to take a shower first. The only thing she needed to do right now was to avoid infuriating Long Siju. He might stop restricting her from seeing her younger brother if he was in a good mood. Although Su Qianxuan knew that she was expecting too much, she believed that one should always be hopeful while one was alive. Otherwise, she would have given up on her life a long time ago. Chapter 72. The Fear in Her Eyes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 72. The Fear in Her Eyes. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. When Su Qianxuan came out of the bathroom, she saw that Long Siju was sitting on the couch. She did not expect him to return so quickly. Her heart skipped a beat as a hint of panic flashed past her eyes. Long Siju had his gaze fixed on the young woman from the moment she stepped out of the bathroom. Hence, he caught the fear in her eyes with his sharp senses. She's still afraid of me. A hint of danger flashed past Long Siju's cold, eagle-like eyes. He stared at the little thing from a distance, raised his head, and downed the glass of wine in his hand. As usual, he was leaning against the couch in a languid manner. Su Qianxuan stared at him as he put down the empty wine glass. She then realized what she needed to do. She walked over in a hurry and took the initiative to pour him another glass of wine. The man on the couch stared at her every movement. Su Qianxuan sensed that strong, oppressive aura of his again, and she was almost out of breath because of it. Long Siju extended his left hand to grab the wine glass. He gently swirled the scarlet liquid in the glass while he flashed a demonic grin. Feed me. Su Qianxuan said nothing. She looked at him nervously before she reached out to take the wine glass in his hand. Then, she brought the glass to his lips. Young master. Do it another way. Long Siju glanced at the little thing before him. As she had just come out from the bathroom, there was still a layer of mist on her skin. Accompanied by the orange lighting, she looked indescribably attractive and alluring. Su Qianxuan's body stiffened a little, and her hands were shivering slightly. When she thought of her current predicament, she brought the glass to her lips and took a mouthful of wine without any hesitation. She felt extremely devastated as she rested her hands on his shoulders. She closed her eyes and pressed her lips to his. Long Siju initially only wanted to punish this little thing, but his eyes darkened with desire the moment she passed the wine into his mouth. It tasted so much better than he had imagined. Su Qianxuan transferred all the red wine in her mouth into the man's mouth. When she was done, Su Qianxuan quickly inched backwards. She covered her tiny mouth with her hand and let out a few soft coughs. Her tiny face, which was originally as fair as snow, was now a little red. Her dark eyes sparkled, and she appeared even more enchanting. Kiss me, Long Siju suddenly ordered. Su Qianxuan was slightly taken aback. Wasn't he the one who took the initiative all this while? Why is he asking me to kiss him this time? Even though she felt doubtful, Su Qianxuan secretly took a few deep breaths and leaned forward obediently. She pressed her tiny mouth to his lips. Unfortunately, she did not know how to kiss at all. After she pressed her lips against his for a while, she realized that it did not feel quite right. She started to randomly bite his lips. Long Siju suddenly shoved the little thing in front of him, who was as obedient as a puppet, away. Being shoved away without any notice, Su Qianxuan fell onto the ground. Her oversized bathrobe loosened a little, exposing her fair shoulders as well as her delicate collarbones. She looked a little anxiously at the king-like man in front of him. She had no idea what her mistake was this time. She was very obedient and followed all his instructions. Long Siju fixed his gaze on the little thing before him, who was trying her best to obey him even though she was obviously afraid of him. For some reason, a wave of anger surged within his chest. Wait for me on the bed. Despite being angry, the little thing's kiss, which did not even feel like a kiss, made him lose all inhibition. Long Siju's D*ck was already as hard as iron. As if she just received a special pardon, Su Qianxuan held her loosened nightgown, stood up, and walked towards the large bed in a flustered manner. Long Siju also stood up and entered the bathroom. When Su Qianxuan reached the bed, she felt extremely uneasy. The fall earlier made her body, including her A** and her chest, incredibly sore. When she thought about what was going to happen next, she really wanted to cry. Chapter 73. In the end, his heart softened a little. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 73. In the end, his heart softened a little. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. When Su Qianxuan remembered that she had already secretly took a painkiller, she reckoned that the S** would not be as painful as it usually was. She tried very hard to relax herself, but she realized that she could not do it at all. When the bathroom door was opened, Su Qianxuan was so shocked that she rose from the bed. She stared in the direction of the bathroom with her big, watery eyes. Long Siju was wearing a black bathrobe with a golden trim. With his tall, sturdy figure and eagle-like eyes, he seemed to completely blend in with the surrounding darkness. He looked like a demon king walking out from hell. He walked toward Su Qianxuan and stood in front of her. He lowered his head to stare at her while he coldly instructed her, "Take off my clothes for me." Su Qianxuan's heart skipped a bit. She obediently extended her hands and placed them on the strap around his waist. However, her small hands, which were trembling slightly, betrayed her. When Long Siju saw how scared the young woman was, he sighed in resignation. In the end, his heart softened a little. His gaze fell upon the shopping bag that Tang Zui gave to Su Qianxuan. He was actually really curious about its content. He extended his hand to grab the shopping bag. "What is this?" Don't look at it." Almost out of reflex, Su Qianxuan wanted to grab the shopping bag over, but Long Siju was very tall, and his arms were long. He picked up the bag straight away, and the item inside dropped out. A black thong fell on the blanket. Su Qianxuan's face became totally red as she looked at the erotic item. At that moment, she really wanted to beat Tang Zui up. Long Siju picked up the underwear that dropped on the bed. He gazed meaningfully at the little thing, who was standing in front of him with her face completely red. She dared not even look at him. Suddenly, he carried her in his arms and placed her on the bed. It was not time for him to have an attack yet, so there was no rush. "I'll put it on for you." Long Siju loosened the strap of her bathrobe with his large hands. Su Qianxuan widened her eyes in disbelief, and she immediately wanted to hold her bathrobe in place. Just a word from Long Siju was enough to stop the young woman in her track. Su Qianxuan was overcome by grief. At this moment, she would prefer Long Siju to start having S** with her immediately. It was even more of a torture to her when he took his time like this. Long Siju removed the bathrobe from her body, revealing her astonishingly perfect body. "Young master, why don't we start now?" Su Qianxuan could not take it anymore. She covered her breasts with one hand and covered her V*Gina with the other hand. The way she looked at him was like she was begging for mercy. "There's no rush. Be obedient and move your hands aside." Long Siju suddenly came up with a naughty, playful idea. He wanted to see how she looked like when she was extremely embarrassed. Soon, the young woman's fair body turned a pale pink. Long Siju slowly slipped the thong, which consisted of 2 strings and a little bit of lace, on the little thing. Su Qianxuan bent her long, fair legs as she was too nervous. Su Qianxuan could feel the man's gaze cruising all over her body, but she could only hold on to her breasts tightly. She almost wanted to cry. After he put the underwear on for her, Long Siju could no longer hold himself back when faced with such an alluring sight. He pressed the little thing beneath his tall and sturdy body. It was the 15th day of the month. If it was not for the little thing's presence, he would have to suffer inhumane pain and torture tonight. With her around, he got to enjoy the most beautiful sensations in the world instead. Su Qianxuan grabbed his shoulders with her hands. She knew that the torment had not ended. Instead, it was only the beginning. Bang! While she waited for the pain to arrive, she heard a sound so loud that it even made her momentarily deaf. Soon after, it felt like the world was shaking up and down. The room was totally tilted, and Long Siju fell from the bed together with Su Qianxuan. Su Qianxuan screamed from the shock. Long Siju's gaze darkened, and he immediately held the young woman in his arms to prevent her from getting injured. The next moment, he jumped up and commanded, "Hold me tight." Su Qianxuan quickly wrapped her arms and legs around the man's body. She asked, "What's happening?" Chapter 74. She did not want to die. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 74. She did not want to die. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Assassination. Long Siju said coldly. Meanwhile, many men in black appeared in front of the shattered glass window. Long Siju flashed a cold smile. He's really impatient, isn't he? The moment I found this little thing who can delay my death, he's here to kill me. But is he capable of that? I doubt so. Su Qianxuan's blood froze. I only promised to bear his child so that me and my younger brother's lives would not be in danger. Why do I have a feeling that this childbirth agreement is going to speed up my death? She did not want to die. Long Siju carried Su Qianxuan with one arm, while he used his other hand to pull the bedsheet from the bed to cover her body. No one was allowed to see his woman. Not even the dead. Every man in black held a 5-feet-long katana that glinted in the dark. Those men dashed towards him in the darkness. Long Siju tightened his arm around the little thing as he jumped up and pulled out a 2-feet-long dagger from between the cushions of the couch. The men in black started to launch their attack on Long Siju aggressively, but Long Siju was not afraid of them at all. In the blink of an eye, he managed to take down 3 men in black. Su Qianxuan wanted to see what was going on, but Long Siju scolded her sternly, "Don't look around." He did not want the little thing to see such a bloody scene. Su Qianxuan quickly hid herself in his arm and wrapped her arms and legs tightly around him. Their bodies were closely pressed together without any space in between. Soon, Long Siju realized that the main target of the men in black was the little thing in his arms instead of him. He kept deflecting the katanas which were aimed at Su Qianxuan. His eyes grew scarier and scarier. At this moment, he emanated an extremely murderous aura, like someone who had just walked out of hell. The blown-up cruise ship became even more tilted and started to sink again. Long Siju defeated a few more men in black. All of them fell towards the tilted side. Long Siju quickly turned and protected Su Qianxuan in his arms before he collided heavily into a wall. Su Qianxuan's head was wrapped inside the blanket, and she did not know what was happening at all. She could only close her eyes and hug Long Siju even more tightly. The full moon outside the window was getting brighter. Suddenly, Long Siju felt a little weak. The venom in his body decided to break out right then. Large groups of men in black continued to enter the room, and countless knives were aimed at Su Qianxuan. Long Siju suddenly inserted his D*ck into the little thing's V*Gina. Su Qianxuan was so shocked that she screamed. She raised her head and looked at Long Siju in disbelief. Long Siju became slightly more energetic. He quickly turned and deflected the katanas which were aimed at them. The collision and friction between metal created ear-piercing sounds. However, someone still managed to cut Long Siju's arm with his katana, and blood spilled out. At that crucial moment, Yi Gu arrived with some underlings. He killed a few men in black without hesitation. He then dashed towards Long Siju and stood in front of Long Siju to protect him. "Young master, the venom in your body is breaking out. Please leave first." Yi Gu and the other bodyguards opened up a path for him to leave. Long Siju did not say anything. He held Su Qianxuan tightly and swiftly fled the scene. From the beginning to the end, he did not remove his D*ck from her V*Gina. Su Qianxuan felt uncomfortable, and wanted to pull herself away, but he stopped her with his big hands. Don't move. His voice sounded a little hoarse. Why are you even doing this at a time like this? Do you know how to swim? Long Siju suddenly asked. Ha! No. Su Qianxuan immediately answered him. Before she could finish speaking, she suddenly felt weightless. She screamed out in shock. Hold your breath. Splash! Long Siju jumped into the sea with Su Qianxuan. Chapter 75. Making her anxious. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 75. Making her anxious. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Su Qianxuan could only feel water flooding towards her from all directions. The water surged into her ears, nose, and mouth. She wanted to breathe, but only water entered her nose. She felt extreme pain as she choked on the water. She wanted to cry out for help, but the water was also rushing into her mouth. She was overwhelmed by extreme fear. Her nose was in immense pain as it was clogged with water. Just as she lost all hope, something suddenly pressed against her lips. Long Siju passed her some air before he forcefully paddled at the water with his legs. Both of them were propelled to the water's surface. The cruise ship beside them was already completely destroyed. Cries and screams for help rose from the sea. Tang Zui, who was flying a helicopter, threw down a rescue ladder straight away when he spotted Long Siju and Su Qianxuan. Long Siju carried the young woman, who was coughing non-stop because she had been choking on water, in one arm and grabbed the rescue ladder with his other arm. Tang Zui flew the helicopter away from the sea's surface. Long Siju carried Su Qianxuan onto the helicopter, and Tang Zui immediately said, "Ju, quickly go to the bedroom in the back." Long Siju carried Su Qianxuan into the bedroom. He then placed her on the bed and kissed her eyes, which were tightly shut together. Although Su Qianxuan was feeling extremely uncomfortable, she was actually awake. Hence, she was well aware of everything that happened afterward. Moreover, she had confirmed once again that after she ate the painkillers, S*X was not as painful as it was before. Conversely, there was an increasingly prominent sensation, which was so strange that it made her anxious. So much so that Su Qianxuan was somewhat regretful that she secretly ate the painkillers. She truly would have rather fainted from the pain so that she would not have to feel or know anything. She also did not know how long he tortured her. She was somewhat conscious the entire time, and she could feel him bathing her before placing her on the bed. He then kissed her lips and left. Su Qianxuan woke up in Jin Garden. She did not know how long she had been asleep, so she was a little disoriented. "Young mistress, you're awake. Are you hungry?" Aunt Chi made her way through the door. As usual, she had a kind smile on her face. "Aunt Chi, what time is it now?" This time, Su Qianxuan was dressed in pajamas. She had a feeling that Long Siju was the one who put it on for her. "It's already past noon. You've slept for 2 days and 2 nights. 2 days and 2 nights. Yes, 2 days and 2 nights. I called the young master out of worry because I thought you were sick. The young master told me not to disturb you and just let you sleep." Su Qianxuan was speechless. "I'm sure you're hungry. The young master instructed me to always have food ready in case you wake up." Aunt Chi beamed as she looked at her. Su Qianxuan was at a loss for words. Su Qianxuan did not think that Long Siju did that because he cared about her. "It's definitely because he's afraid that there wouldn't be anyone to bear his child if anything happens to me. Besides, he needs someone to torture on the 1st and 15th day of every month." Su Qianxuan was indeed hungry. She lifted the blanket and got off the bed as she tried to probe, asking, "Can I leave this bedroom?" "Of course you can. The young master said that you can do whatever you want in Jean Garden. What if I want to go out? About that. The young master did not say anything. Su Qianxuan knew that Long Siju was not so kind. But from being imprisoned in a bedroom to being imprisoned in a mansion, her range of activities had widened by quite a lot. She should feel happy. She might even be able to go anywhere she wanted to if she continued to fight for her freedom. When Su Qianxuan went to clean herself up, she saw her half-covered butterfly mark in the mirror. She pulled down her shirt to look at it. When she saw the butterfly mark in its entirety, her beautiful eyebrows scrunched up into a frown. The color of the butterfly mark had darkened a little, and it appeared even clearer. Chapter 76. What makes you qualified to wander around here? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 76. What makes you qualified to wander around here? Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. The realistic blue butterfly seemed extraordinarily alluring and dazzling on her pale skin. Su Qianxuan pulled up her shirt, but her eyebrows were still tightly furrowed. She had a theory in her mind. Does this butterfly's change in color have something to do with me having S*X with that man? And what does the 1st and 15th day of the month mean? What's the connection between these two matters? Su Qianxuan sighed. Since she could not figure it out, it was best not to think about it first. So what if she knew what was going on? Right now, she had no ability to change anything. After Su Qianxuan walked out of the room, Aunt Qi happily brought her to the walk-in closet to change her clothes. Young Mistress Su, from now on, all the clothes in this walk-in closet belong to you. They were all custom-made at the young master's order, Aunt Qi said with a grin. Su Qianxuan looked at the lavish walk-in closet. It was truly very beautiful and dreamy. All of the clothes were arranged from the lightest color to the darkest, and they looked very pleasing to the eyes. Young Mistress Su, do you like it? I do. Su Qianxuan was feeling miserable on the inside. She did not like this feeling. All of this made her feel like a canary in captivity, reared by Long Siju. And that was, in fact, the truth. Su Qianxuan chose a set of light pink sportswear and changed into it. When she was about to leave, she looked at the luxurious, interconnected walk-in closet in the opposite direction, which seemed endless. She asked out of curiosity, Aunt Qi, who does these clothes belong to? I don't know about this either, young Mistress Su. This walk-in closet was already here when I came to Jean Garden. New clothes would be added every year, and the walk-in closet would be expanded if it ran out of space. But no one knows the person to whom the young master prepared this walk-in closet for. Also, the young master strictly prohibits anyone from touching anything inside. You have to be careful when you enter your walk-in closet. Don't ever walk into the wrong room and take out the wrong clothes. This could enrage the young master. Aunt Qi then warned her about how she once heard that someone had accidentally ruined one of the clothes in the walk-in closet. The young master flew into a terrible rage because of it. Su Qianxuan knew very well that the walk-in closet had to have been prepared for a girl, since it was filled with clothing for young women. Could it be someone Long Siju was in love with? BDNVL.M. Su Qianxuan followed Aunt Qi into the dining room. A hearty meal was already prepared there. Su Qianxuan was definitely hungry. Her mood was also slightly better since she no longer had to be locked in that bedroom of several square feet. She ran briskly to her seat and sat down. Aunt Qi still had something to attend to, so she left after asking Su Qianxuan to eat first. Su Qianxuan felt even more comfortable because she was alone. She was not used to eating while being watched by a group of people. Su Qianxuan simply stood up to take the dishes that were out of her reach without caring about her image. Long Siju was in a video conference with his subordinates, but at a certain point in time, he had begun to stare at the laptop screen by the side. His lips curled up when he saw the little thing's candid table manners. All the people involved in the meeting felt like they were experiencing some problems with their eyes. Tang Zui, who was sitting opposite him, looked at Long Siju with a funny expression on his face. "Ju, what's so interesting? Let me take a look too." Tang Zui was about to go over to take a look when Long Siju immediately slammed the laptop cover down. He then carried on with the meeting without any expression on his face. Tang Zui was speechless. Once Su Qianxuan was full, she planned to look around outside to see how Jean Garden was like. As she walked, she heard someone behind her say, "You're only a tool brought back by the young master. What makes you qualified to wander around here?" Chapter 77. So long as you're happy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 77. So long as you're happy. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Su Qianxuan turned and saw that Qi Min was walking towards her. Qi Min was dressed in a pastel princess-style dress with an arrogant look on her face, as though she was the princess of Jean Garden. This dress did not suit Qi Min. Her skin was not fair enough, and the aura she emanated also did not match this dress. She ended up looking tacky in it. Qi Min looked at Su Qianxuan, who was wearing a simple light pink sportswear. Her long, curly hair fell effortlessly down her shoulders. She looked beautiful and adorable even when she did not deliberately dress up. Her each and every move was attractive and eye-catching. "You're not in the position to determine if I'm qualified or not." Su Qianxuan flashed a slight smile. She looked sweet and lively. Su Qianxuan only gave a one-sentence reply as she did not want to pay Qi Min any more attention. She continued to walk forward, but Qi Min refused to let her off the hook. "Su Qianxuan, do you think that the young master fancies you just because he keeps you around? Let me tell you, you're just a tool to the young master. When you are no longer valuable to him, the young master will cast you away." Qi Min's sinister appearance made her look even uglier. "Is that so? I don't think that's the case. Long Siju has prepared a walk-in closet just for me. I heard from Aunt Qi that all of the clothes inside were hand-picked by him. Have you ever seen anyone being this kind towards a tool?" Su Qianxuan was intentionally provoking Qi Min. She wanted to see if she could get some information out of Qi Min. "Ha! The Long family is rich. The young master is only buying clothes for you because he cares about his own reputation. Do you think that the young master will fancy an ugly duckling like you?" Qi Min sneered. "Oh, is that so?" Su Qianxuan put on a nonchalant expression to show that she did not believe in whatever Qi Min said. "Or else? Do you think that the young master will fall in love with a tool?" Qi Min was somewhat exasperated when she saw how nonchalant Su Qianxuan looked. "If you'd like to think about it that way. Well, so long as you're happy." Su Qianxuan still had a nonchalant smile on her face. USL*T, it's the truth. You. Sister Z Fan said that you're a tool, so you're definitely one. The young master trusts Sister Z Fan the most. Qi Min had truly ran out of words, so she involved Z Fan in the argument. Z Fan, Long Siju's personal doctor. Su Qianxuan already knew that Qi Min actually knew nothing at all. She liked Long Siju and continuously found fault with Su Qianxuan because she was too jealous of her. Su Qianxuan did not want to bother with her anymore. She was in quite a good mood today, and she did not want to spoil her mood because of some irrelevant person. She turned and continued to walk forward. "I'm talking to you, can't you hear me?" When Qi Min saw that Su Qianxuan was ignoring her, she almost exploded with anger. "I heard what you said." "I'm a tool," Su Qianxuan replied half-heartedly in a completely insincere manner. The more nonchalant Su Qianxuan came across as, the angrier Qi Min got. She felt like things should not have gone that way. Was the slut not supposed to feel extremely shaken, and cry in sadness and fear after hearing her words? Chi Min stared furiously at Su Qianxuan as she walked farther away, and she stomped on the ground angrily. Somewhat lacking in confidence, she lowered her head to look at the dress she was wearing before she turned angrily and left. Little Min, what's wrong? Why do you look unhappy? Zifan walked out of the side door of the villa and gazed at Chi Min with a gentle expression. It's because of that little SL*T, Su Qianxuan. Does she actually know her position? She's just a tool, but she still dares to strut and wander around Jean Garden. Does she really think that she's the mistress of Jean Garden? Chi Min did not know how to hide her emotions at all. Zifan sneered as she looked at the dumb young woman before her, and said, some people are like that. You don't have to be angry at such people. You mentioned that she asked for painkillers from Aunt Chi, right? Chapter 78. She wanted to leave. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 78. She wanted to leave. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, right, that SL*T did it on purpose. She's definitely showing off, and she wants everybody to know how much the young master favors her. Chi Min was so angry that not a tiny bit of her rationality was left. A glimmer of light flashed past Zifan's eyes. She smoothed out Chi Min's dress gently and said, well, don't be angry at people who aren't worth it. She's just the young master's tool. She'll be cast away once the young master is done with her. You look so pretty today in this dress. You're the true princess of Jean Garden. Chi Min felt slightly better after she heard those words. Jean Garden was extremely huge. There were many private gardens and swimming pools behind the villa. Su Qianxuan was still not feeling very well, and her legs were sore after she took a tour around Jean Garden. Hence, she went back to her room. Long Siju did not come back to Jean Garden in the next few days, and the following day was the day Long Siju promised Su Qianxuan that she could visit Su Jie. The young woman, who was still able to keep her cool during the past few days, was getting a little agitated now. She felt a heart-wrenching sadness whenever she recalled the harsh words she said to her younger brother that day, and how her younger brother cried after that. She promised her younger brother that she would come and visit him once a week. He would definitely count the seconds every day and wait for the day he would get to see her. Su Qianxuan knew very well that while everybody else may live their life by days, her younger brother lived by seconds. He would count every single second while waiting for his older sister to visit him. Even though Su Jie was autistic, he was not dumb. Instead, he was very clever and was extraordinarily good with numbers. Su Qianxuan always thought about how this may not be a good thing for patients like Su Jie. It would only cause him more suffering. Long Siju did not return even after dinner. Su Qianxuan did not know whether to feel disappointed or relieved. After she returned to her bedroom, she showered and slept. Just before she fell asleep, she thought about calling Long Siju if he still did not come back the following day. He won't go back on his word, right? In the middle of the night, while Su Qianxuan was sleeping soundly, she suddenly felt a weight pressing against her body. The next moment, she was out of breath because someone started kissing her. Su Qianxuan opened her eyes abruptly, and her gaze was met with a pair of eyes that were as sharp as those of a hawk. She shuddered a little without being aware of it. Long Siju was back. There was a strong smell of tobacco and alcohol coming from the man. If his eyes had not been so sharp and cold, Su Qianxuan would have thought that he was drunk. Long Siju's clothes were still very neat. He kissed her a few times before unzipping his pants. He then fiercely thrust his P***nis into her V***gina without any foreplay. Su Qianxuan was not prepared for it at all and immediately burst into tears. She was not crying because she felt wronged. It was because he was really being too wanton and barbaric, and those tears automatically fell out of her eyes. The man then continued to torment her with that inhuman and unbearable pain. In the end, she could not take it anymore. She felt like she was going to die from the S***X. She had no choice but to cry non-stop while begging him for mercy. Only then did he become a little gentler. After he was done, Long Siju immediately removed his P***nis from her V***Gina. He then simply zipped his pants, turned and left. Su Qianxuan cried until there was a large patch of tears on her pillow. A few strands of her long hair, which were wet from tears and sweat, were messily stuck on her small face. She rolled over and hugged herself, tears still continuously running down her cheeks. She could feel that Long Siju was extremely angry. In the beginning, his every thrust was filled with anger. Su Qianxuan felt really upset. What right does he have to vent out his anger on me? I need to leave this man. I must think of a way to leave this demon. In a daze, she began to drift off to sleep. In the middle of the night, someone lay down beside her and hugged her. Chapter 79. Happiness would come again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 79. Happiness would come again. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Su Qianxuan knew that the person was Long Siju. Right now, she was almost instinctively aversive of him. Even though she was not awake, she still subconsciously pushed him away with her small hands. However, it was no use. The man tightened his arms, and both of their bodies were closely pressed together. The following day, there was no one next to Su Qianxuan when she woke up. She sat up and stared blankly into the air as she hugged her blanket. She felt a cool sensation on her ankle. Su Qianxuan lifted up the blanket and saw a very shiny anklet around her ankle. There were a few cute little bells hanging from its thin platinum chain. Su Qianxuan froze for a moment as she stared at the anklet. Those were not bells, but lilies of the valley. They were pure white and bell-shaped, and looked tiny and cute. They even made her forget the humiliation and pain from last night. She extended her fingers to touch those cute little flowers. The lily of the valley was her favorite flower. Legend said that if one received lilies of the valley, he would be favored by the god of luck. The flower only blossomed when the spring breeze blew in May. It symbolized pure love and that happiness would come again. Su Qianxuan was in a slight trance. Did Long Siju put this on her leg? Someone knocked on the door and startled Su Qianxuan. She hid in the blanket immediately. "Chick, it's me. Can I come in for a while?" Tang Zui knocked on the door again. "No, you can't. Hold on." Su Qianxuan went to look for her clothes in a hurry, but her pajamas were already torn into pieces. Tang Zui only entered the room after 5 minutes. Su Qianxuan stared at him and asked right away, "Young Master Tang, what time can I meet my brother today? Is that the only thing you want to say to me? Nothing else?" Tang Zui asked while he sized the room up. "Something else?" "Nope." Su Qianxuan shook her head. She did not know what else to say to him. For example, matters related to Ju. Tang Zui coughed softly to remind her. Su Qianxuan did not say anything. Tang Zui understood everything when he saw the confused expression on the young woman's face. "I see. This young woman doesn't care about Ju at all. I was worried that she would start fantasizing about Ju and fall in love with him. Looks like I was worried for nothing. Come, Chick, we need to talk." Su Qianxuan continued to remain silent. "Do you want to live more freely in the future?" Su Qianxuan made a bowl of noodles with shredded chicken and put it on a tray. She made 2 other fresh and delicious side dishes as well. The butler who stood beside her frowned when he saw the simple dishes, whereas Aunt Chi was in disbelief. "Young Mistress Su, I can't believe that you know how to cook. My daughter, Little Min, knows nothing. She only waits for everything to be prepared for her." Now that Aunt Chi mentioned Chi Min, Su Qianxuan felt despondent. Why would a good person like Aunt Chi end up having such a bad-mannered daughter? I like to cook for my family members, and I feel happy when I see them eat what I've cooked. She had always thought that her happy life would last forever, until that day, when everything fell apart. Su Qianxuan felt the cool sensation of the anklet around her ankle. She especially liked the meaning behind the lily of the valley, because she was hoping that one day, her happiness would come again. Su Qianxuan stared at the butler who was trying hard to hold himself back from throwing the bowl of noodles away. She lifted the tray and quickly left. Before she entered the study room, Su Qianxuan took a few deep breaths. Only then did she walk into the room. Long Siju was resting with his eyes closed. He opened his eyes slowly when he heard Su Qianxuan footsteps. He fixed his profound gaze on the young woman who just walked in. His gaze was still extremely oppressing. Su Qianxuan still felt extremely uneasy when she recalled his sudden brutality the night before. But when she thought about what Tang Zui told her just now. "Young master, I heard that you still haven't had breakfast. I went to the kitchen and made you a bowl of noodles with shredded chicken. Do you want to give it a try and see if it suits your appetite?" Chapter 80. She could not go back on her word. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 80. She could not go back on her word. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. The moment Su Qianxuan finished talking, Long Siju grabbed her by the wrist and pulled her onto his lap. He then lowered his head and kissed her petite lips. Su Qianxuan mustered the courage to shove him away. When Long Siju stared at her with a hint of displeasure in his eyes, Su Qianxuan quickly said, "Young master, the noodles will become soggy if they're soaked in the soup for too long. Why don't you finish them first? Do you mean that I get to swallow you up after I finish those noodles?" Long Siju asked, staring at her. He reached his large hand under her shirt and caressed the smooth skin around her slim waist. Su Qianxuan felt as if her heart was going to stop beating any time. This man has a terrifyingly strong libido. Didn't he say that he only needs to do it on the 1st and 15th day of each month? Long Siju had yet to receive her reply, so he reached out to grab her chin and forced her to look at him. Su Qianxuan felt her blood run cold from his gaze. She could only bite the bullet and nod. She needed to visit her younger brother today. Since she had already made a promise to her younger brother, she could not go back on her word. Long Siju eventually showed mercy and let her go. When Su Qianxuan was released, she heaved a loud sigh of relief. She then quickly pushed the tray with the bowl of noodles and side dishes on it towards Long Siju. "Young master, please taste the noodles now. They are very delicious. Very delicious." Long Siju lowered his gaze and looked at her crotch. Su Qianxuan froze for a moment. When she realized what he was implying, she pressed her thighs together without being aware of it and blushed. "I'll savor it carefully later," Long Siju implied. Su Qianxuan was dumbstruck. When Long Siju saw that the little thing had become utterly embarrassed, his mood significantly improved. He picked up the chopsticks and started to eat the noodles in the bowl. The taste of the soup was mild and not strong in flavor, but Long Siju found it surprisingly tasty. He did not expect the young woman to be such a good cook. He ate some of the mixed vegetables in the cold platter. They were fresh, crunchy, and exceptionally succulent. Long Siju suffered from mild anorexia. He never had much of an appetite for any food. Even though the butler instructed the kitchen staff to serve him a wide variety of food for each meal, he never ate much. However, Long Siju took only 3 minutes to finish all the food prepared by Su Qianxuan. There were no leftovers at all. "Are there more of this?" Long Siju raised his head and looked at the young woman, who was standing obediently next to him. Su Qianxuan shook her head. No. As soon as Long Siju heard that, he pushed the tray in front of him away and pulled the young woman towards him. After that, he lifted her and placed her on the desk. L.RG Su Qianxuan was startled. She raised her head nervously and looked at him. Young master. Then it's time to swallow you up. Long Siju said. He lowered his head and kissed her small lips, which were slightly parted out of shock. Su Qianxuan widened her eyes in disbelief. Is he seriously doing this in the study room? By the time Su Qianxuan realized what was happening, Long Siju had already torn her underpants. Without the painkiller, Su Qianxuan was in tremendous pain as he penetrated her. She kept crying and begging him to stop, but the more miserably she wept, the more excited Long Siju became. Long Siju removed his D*ck from Su Qianxuan's vagina once he was done. Without the support of the man before her, Su Qianxuan immediately slid off the desk. She almost fell to the floor, but Long Siju extended his long arm, scooped her up, and sat her down in the chair. A sudden knock on the door startled Su Qianxuan. She stood up abruptly and saw Zifan walking in with a blank expression. Su Qianxuan wiped the tears off her face in a flustered manner. She looked at the man standing next to her, mortified. Did he know that Zifan was right outside the room? How long has she been there? You can go now. Long Siju glanced at the young woman. He then picked up a cigarette from the desk, lit it, and started to smoke.